Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director, the Federal Reserve estimates that 40% of Americans can't afford a $400 emergency expense. That leaves over 130 million Americans vulnerable to predatory financial practices in the event that a case of coronavirus leads to a loss of income or an unexpected medical bill. And furthermore, a financial hardship brought on by coronavirus could affect a person's credit report and impact their ability to access credit in the future. In 2018, the CFPB performed research and issued educational material on the financial aspects of preparing and recovering from a natural disaster. What we are facing now may be a public health emergency that is more geographically dispersed, but just as financially dangerous for American families. Early last month, the SEC and FTC issued warnings to Americans about coronavirus investment and product scams. But even through yesterday, the CFPB and other regulators encourage financial institutions to meet the needs of customers affected by the virus. The CFPB's website still doesn't have any advice for Americans on how to financially prepare or avoid scams and fraud that may come as a result of the coronavirus spread. So I'm asking you a very simple question. Director, will you commit to immediately develop and publish such advice so that Americans whose health and lives are disrupted by the virus aren't also exploited by scam artists and fraudsters?
Senator, I appreciate the question you're asking. I'll look to update the things that we do have that generally help consumers and make sure that we reference coronavirus appropriately. It's an excellent point, so thank you.
All right. So I hope you'll not only take that to heart, but take it into action, because while general scams and frauds and advice on that may be worthwhile, the specific elements of fraud that we are beginning to see already and scams we're beginning to see already as a result of this, I think merit the Bureau's attention. Now, I'd like to follow up on an important issue raised by Ranking Member Brown. Can you commit to the committee that any unresolved matters still pending with Wells Fargo will be handled in public?
Senator, we have a current understanding with Wells Fargo with respect to this, going through a lot of requirements that we will remain in the supervisory tool if we can. And that merits cooperation and progress with respect to their compliance plans and actually providing the remediation and taking the right actions that were pledged there.
So you can't make that commitment, is what you're telling me?
I can say that we will continue to pursue our own responsibilities, and we are watching this incredibly closely.
The responsibilities, Mr. Blankenstein assured Wells Fargo that matters pending would be resolved in private through the Office of Supervision. So if we can't have these actions speak in public, it seems that the CFPB does intend to keep Mr. Blankenstein's promise to Wells Fargo after all, because doing this in public would in fact be preferable, obviously, to secrecy. It may not lessen the gravity of Mr. Blankenstein's actions under your leadership, but to suggest that I'm going to take care of you politically through supervision, that doesn't create any sense of confidence for consumers, especially those who have banked at Wells Fargo and have a long history. Wells Fargo has a long history of perversing the interests of those consumers. I would just say to you that, we need assurances that you can provide the committee that the CFPB's political appointees are not promising these companies that they will handle any violations of law it uncovers at these companies in private. Public scrutiny is far better, and if you're saying we'll do it in private without public scrutiny and potentially without fines, that's a problem. That's a problem. Has the CFPB at this point in time resumed supervisory examinations and oversight of companies that service the $1.2 trillion of loans owned by the federal government?
Senator, yes. We have an agreement with the Department of Education and are moving forward with a joint exam, in fact, this month.
So you're doing supervisory examinations?
Yes, Senator, starting this month.
And when you say you are, let me just understand, you say your joint effort here. it's your responsibility to do these supervisory examinations. So is the CFP, I want to make sure I got this for the record straight so we don't end up having a different consequence. Is it the CFPB who is doing the supervisory examination of these loans?
Yes, with respect to consumer financial laws, and the Department of Education has the contract oversight of their contractors.
Well, I'll close just simply by saying, as you know, I've raised this with you several times that you've been here. We need to make sure that you use the full scope of your authority, including if you're not getting the direct access to audits going to court as your predecessor did, to ensure that student borrowers are protected. So I look forward to following up with you on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.